It's time to stock up your 2025 fantasy football roster with a litany of juggernauts. We give you our top 6 fantasy football breakouts for this NFL season. All this and more. It's the IBT podcast coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fixed this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. We're now just 3 weeks away from professional football getting back in action for real this time, and it's a glorious time to be alive, as in we just keep getting better every single week. We're getting closer to the year. We're going to give you our breakout candidates on this episode. I'm your host, Seth Eric, and apologies for the voice being a bit hoarse in this episode. Fresh off 4 days in beautiful Canton, Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo. Of course, we hosted Draft Night Out on Saturday. We also had our inaugural IBT Classic on Friday. Things went swimmingly as usual. Thank you, everyone who came out in drones to support us here at IBT. People, we're also far too kind to this kid, so very grateful for all those messages I got. Grateful for all the very kind words, and my amazing team as well. TS, Katie, Kyle, Elliot, everyone behind the scenes, the FSAN crew, Tyler. We also got some help from our friends formerly over there at JWB, like Wyatt, Duchesne's. Appreciate them, Jake Perry. And tonight I'm joined by a man who was too busy with being a big business, a light ranching son of a gun to attend. Eric Romoff. Eric, great to see you back here on the program. I hope the Suns karate tournament also went swimmingly.
Yeah, definitely dad duty that had me missing out on Canton, which was a tough pill to swallow. It sounds like it was another immaculate expo, another immaculate run for DNO. And from what I can tell, the birth of a brand new tradition, the IBT Classic, might be the headline story coming out of Expo Weekend 2025. Can't wait to see this thing continue to grow, and love to see all of the support of the IBT family, whether it's those kind words that you're hearing in the comments or actually showing up in person and getting to know all of these folks there in Canton face to face. So bummed that I couldn't make it. The good news is that my voice is nice and rested. So on average, Seth and I have a pretty ready to go voice situation for tonight's program.
Yeah, I'm going to be leaning on you. I'm going to be leaning on you for sure, brother, because listen, the one thing I learned about the IBT family each and every year when we get out there to Canton is that this is a rowdy bunch. This is a rowdy bunch, man. They like to drink their beers just like us. They like to, maybe puff a little puff. It's a good time out there. People enjoy it. And I'm paying the price for it today. No Steve, no Jake, no Kyle in this episode. We gave them the night off. They're continuing to recover with themselves, with their spouses as well. So the show will go on, though. And as always, before we get going to the breakouts, followed by some of the feel-good headlines of the week, shout out to the IBT family who's tuning in with us. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Come be a part of our story. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. And shout out to Ben, already in the chat with us. Ben, what's going on, man? Ben's got some good articles we got queued up in the site coming out here within the next few days, and also going to be doing our bonus show that's going to come out. It's going to be a Q&A version that you guys can be a part of right over there at the IBT Football family. If you want more of us, this is our premium community. This is going to get you access to not only that show that Ben and Phil are going to be taking your questions with every single week, but you're going to get access into our memorabilia giveaways. It was really cool. We pulled the first IBT family memorabilia giveaway over the weekend, Eric, for the football family. And it was a guy, we found a random guy in attendance at the expo. We said, hey, come over here, pull this. And he pulled his brother's name out of there. So very cool. He was a supporter of the IBT family as well. He was also in there. So really, really cool. You're also going to get into the Discord to chat with us. You're going to get our picks in there. Eric, myself, and Steve. We'll put our college football and NFL betting cards in there each week for you so you can tail us. We've been really hot over on the NASCAR side, up 50 units on the year, just myself. I know Elliot's having a great season as well. So come be a part of that. And we'll also have a touchdown contest where you can win a plaque from our new partners over at Dynasty Deck. We got some of those going out in the mail to Draft Night Out winners, also IBT Classic winners from this past weekend. So really, really excited about that, Eric. More time with the IBT family is always a good thing in my mind. And $3.99 per month, $36 for the year. Link in the episode description. It's a great time to come hang out with myself and you as well.
And dollars to donuts, for my money, the best value going in terms of premium content, premium communities out there. But the community aspect of it is really what shines through, right? Like you are interacting with all your favorite members of the IBT family and crew every single day. But moreover, you're in there mixing it up with the rest of the IBT fam, right? Everyone that's up here in the comments, everyone that came out to Canton, they're up in that Discord, and you're able to talk a little trash back and forth, to cut some jokes, break a little balls back and forth. So it is a good time in that Discord, in addition to being very, very informative.
Yeah, and I always was the way that I never wanted to monetize our content until I could offer some serious bang for your buck. And that's what I think we're doing over there, gamifying things with the touchdown contest, also putting our picks in that were pretty hot last year as far as football. We're really hot on the NASCAR side of things, and then getting you guys access into that memorabilia giveaway, giving you that extra Q&A show with some guys as sharp as Phil and Ben. Always a good time. So appreciate it. Come on over. We already filled it up quite a bit over the weekend at DNO. So excited for that. Also very excited to announce our new partner before we get going here. myTickets. myTickets is on a mission to save $4 million on tickets this year alone by helping you buy at the right time. Their auto buy feature automatically purchases tickets for you during price drops, and you can try their buy now tracking, which notifies you when tickets are projected to be at their absolute cheapest, so you can save the most. Whether you're trying to attend your favorite sporting event, concert, festival, or even musical and play, myTickets has you covered. Go to mytickets.com and use the promo code IBT to start saving up to 20% or more on your next event. Again, that's mytickets.com to use the promo code IBT. You're going to start saving up to 20% or more on that next event. Eric, you've been very involved in this partnership since the beginning. And we kind of touched on our last episode that they're almost like the, I want to say the betting pros of the ticketing process, where you can track everything, you can track the movement, and really get some closing line value there on your tickets for your next event.
Yeah, man, closing line value on my event tickets is exactly what I need in my life. We just inked this partnership while I was on my summer road trip, and I was this close to extending my stay in Chicago if I could find some childcare to make my way to Lollapalooza, which had some very, very nice looking pricing over at myTickets. Going to be taking this show on the road to New York over the holidays. We're definitely going to be picking up some Broadway and play tickets while we're up there. This is going to be like maybe not tier 1 in terms of all of my fantasy and betting apps, but tier 1A in terms of frequency at which I'm going to have this app open over the next 6 months. myTickets is way up there.
I've already been plugging in the Penn State home games this season and tracking those. Whiteout tickets against Oregon, they're expensive. So I need to do what I can to save a few bucks on them. So mytickets.com, again, check them out, guys. It's a really, really cool platform. Maybe one of the coolest sponsors we've ever worked with. So thank you so much, myTickets. Make sure you guys are checking them out. Let's go ahead and jump right into things with a little headline hijinks for our breakouts of 2025. And whether they're aging veterans or promising young rookies or second-year players, we're going to give you our top 6 picks that we're going to be targeting in drafts who we think could break out, be among the top of their position group here in 2025. And Eric, I'm going to go ahead and save my voice a little bit after that read. I'm going to throw things right over to you, man. So who is your first breakout candidate for 2025, and what is your headline hijinks for the episode?
Yeah, my first headline hijinks is Green Bay's Golden Boy, Matthew to the moon. Of course, this is Matthew Golden, the Green Bay Packers' first round rookie selection. Look, I am always an advocate of forget what teams and coaching staff say, just watch what they do. And Green Bay decided to go out and spend a first round draft pick on a wide receiver for the first time in forever in all of our collective memories on Matthew Golden, who went out and completely set the draft combine ablaze with his fastest with his lightning fast 40 time during the pre-draft process, and now
42-1,
stepped
baby. 42-1.
Yeah, a ticket that Seth was fortunate enough to cash, as well as many of the IBT faithful that were watching some of our off-season programming. So comes in and immediately has a skill set, at least a speed differentiator among a crowded wide receiver room there in Green Bay. But as the course of the summer and the offseason has started to unfold, this guy is not just a speedster, right? He is one of the more effective route runners in this group. He's torching people in practice. He's torching people and making them trip over their ankles left and right in the preseason games. And now, all of a sudden, this is a Green Bay wide receiver room that's not looking that crowded. Christian Watson's going to start the season off on PUP. Wicks and Reed are both already out heading into week number 1 and potentially longer, right? Dobbs went down earlier this week with what looked like a back injury, right? So talking about Matthew Golden, who, was on merit, very likely to emerge from the pack, but now has ample runway and opportunity in front of him. And he's the type of player that if he's going to get snaps, he's going to very quickly differentiate himself based on that skill set. And I think it's going to be wheels up from week 1 with Matthew Golden.
Yeah, man, I'm so tired of the lazy narratives going around that this guy is just a speedster. That's not at all, man. If you watch any of his tape at Texas, especially late in the season, you get this guy going on a crosser, man. He is some of the best. I don't want to call him a true technician because that's not his game, but with his sudden burst, his twitchiness, he is really good at creating separation here. So I'm excited for Matthew Golden. I get to the narratives flying around that, oh, he didn't really have that much production at Houston, and then he goes to Texas, and he was behind Isaiah Bond to begin the season. One, Isaiah Bond is trash. I told you that, months and months ago. And at the same time, let's not forget that Houston is this like run-heavy, win with defense type of program down there in Texas. They've been completely outmatched in the Big 12 since transferring over from the American Conference. So I really like Matthew Golden. I think he's one of those that, hey, put his college production a little bit to the side and just look at the pure player. And I like him a lot. And now the opportunity is starting to set itself, right? You have the injuries to Reed, to Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, while I think he could also be a potential nice sleeper candidate with some of his underlying metrics from that last season. He can be a little bit of a head case as well. So I'm with you there on Matthew Golden. I think breakout candidate is very within the realm. Curious, Eric, do you have him above someone like Jane Reed in your rankings? Are you taking Golden above Reed now, especially considering the injury?
Yeah, with the injury, it's a slam dunk. But even prior to that point, Matthew Golden was someone that I was prioritizing over Jaden Reed, and someone that I was comfortable reaching around a round and a half, 2 rounds ahead of ADP to go out and get, right? With some of this injury news, with the promising on-field work that we've seen in the preseason, I would expect his ADP to raise to about the point where I was drafting him. But really where he's falling, it's a point of drafts where I want that upside, right? I don't want Jaden Reed, who's going to play, 50-ish% of snaps and, maybe have, week over week upside, but not season long upside. I want a guy that can potentially take a job by the throat and run with it for the entire season. So he was already ahead of him. And now with the injury news, it's not even really a conversation for me.
What I heard Sealy say it over on the Fantasy Pros podcast last week, like, we got to stop drafting guys that have, not top 24 upside. Like, that's what you want, right? That's really what we're playing for. And a guy like Matthew Golden does. I currently have him, and I am working on doing some adjustments to my rankings. So hopefully they're live here sometime this week. But I have Golden down at 46 and Reed at 43. But as the injuries are happening, I think this is going to flip. I think it's going to flip by the time we get into next week and drafts really start heating up. So, Eric, love this call from you, my man. Also, love the IBT family checking us out tonight. Albert in the chat saying, good evening. Good evening to you, Albert, brother. Hope everything's going great with you. Thanks for always making time for us. I'm pretty sure I would say 99.999999% of the IBT podcast that we've done live on YouTube over the past, like, what, 5-6 years. I think the show's going into its 7th season. And we've been live on YouTube for about 5 of those. And Albert's always been here, brother. So thank you.
Steady.
Yes, steady. Just like who's the Albert of fantasy football? Who's steady like Albert? Like George Kittle? Is he like the George Kittle of the IBT pod?
Yeah, that's a great comp. That's
Yeah.
an absolutely that's a bang on comp.
Well, appreciate you, Mr. Kittle. Thanks for checking us out. And speaking of partiers, my man Michael Fantasy Mute
Michael.
saying hi, fellas. Another Tuesday night talking fantasy football with In Between Media. Michael, thanks so much not only for making time for us tonight, brother, but he was over there at the expo. He was at Draft Night Out on Saturday, having a time coming right from the Fans Classic. So 2 drafts back to back. And Eric, this draft, this was our first ever Dynasty League. Michael and the folks, the kind folks up there, they kept drafting. We left around 4:30, then over, packed up, and they kept going, I heard, to like 6:30, 7 o'clock. They did not stop. They are still rolling as we speak as well. So, like, that's awesome, man. That's just, I think, one of the coolest things I've seen was just a couple of drafts that wanted to just, hey, you know, they didn't have to be anywhere. The Saturday night party was there later that night, and they're like, hey, this is a great group of people. Let's just keep drafting.
Yeah, you love it, especially with DNO in particular, right? Like we'll have these pockets, these groups of 2, 3, 4 friends that maybe jump into a league together. But a lot of times these are people that are meeting each other for the very first time when they walk into the venue. So the fact that they're able to just click and get onto a wavelength like that and just keep the party rolling, like this is what it's all about.
Yeah, and Michael kept going all weekend. I saw him Sunday night, I think, right as I was leaving karaoke about 1:30. So Michael is the man. We appreciate you. And asking a great follow-up question here. Do you think that Golden can affect Josh Jacobs' usage? To me, Eric, it's less about Matthew Golden. And I think we will see a little bit less run game volume as a whole, because I don't know if Jordan Love was truly ever healthy after getting injured down there in Mexico, came back, started to get healthy, then got another different type of injury later on in the season. So I think if anything, maybe that would limit some of that volume for Josh Jacobs. But that being said, I'm still all the way in on Jacobs. I mean, I think he's going very reasonable right now. He's my RB8, 1 spot ahead of Chase Brown.
Yeah, I've got almost a verbatim identical take, right? I think that Jacobs' usage will probably come down a hair, right? If you think about what the Packers did last year, they were 19th in pass attempts overall. And you look at Jordan Love from the year prior when he was healthy and played the entire season, and they were 5th. So I think it's much more about passing volume. Obviously, now Jordan Love has some injury news of his own, so we can't exactly pencil in a healthy season for him with a ton of confidence at this point. But to whatever extent we see usage decrease for Jacobs, I think it has much more to do with a healthy season for Love, and really the impact of Golden and the injuries around him is much more about consolidation of targets and less to do about how they change or update their game plan.
Very much agreed, man. And Michael's saying, Seth, thank you for running all the DNO drafts. Hey, thank the team here at IBT, man, and thank everyone for coming out. It was a pretty easy job, actually. For the first time ever, I got to sit down. I mean, I'm usually drinking beers at DNO, but I even got to, sit down for about 30 minutes at the bar, eat a pizza with our guy Tyler. So everyone makes my job easy, man. I'm just happy to do it. So thank you all. I want to get to my first breakout, though, Eric. And look, I'm running it back. Don't take your guns to town. Johnny Cash, baby. And last year, I was also in on Ricky Pearsall on being a breakout. And I think I get the do-over button. I think I'm allowed because I called it in year number 1. Things got a bit delayed when somebody decided to bring their gun to town, try to take out our guy Ricky Pearsall. But look, this guy's undefeated. This guy's a freaking juggernaut, as we said coming into the show, dude. Brandon Ayuk's out at least until week 6. We're hearing Jawan Jennings, not a happy camper right now there in Santa Clara, coming off a 4th-year breakout. CMC, always a huge health issue. That really leaves George Kittle, who usually misses a game or two, but really, really steady other than that, and Ricky Pearsall as the 2 49ers that I'm actively targeting in drafts this season. The 49ers defense, we've heard it all offseason. They lost a ton of turnover for them in the secondary, up front, all over. So I think Brock Purdy's going to have to grip it and rip it a little bit here, man. I know this sample size is really small, so I apologize it's not bigger. It is cherry picking a little bit. But in the 3 games where Ricky Pearsall saw at least 6 targets, he averaged 6 receptions, 94.3 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And while I think he still needs to work on his win rate versus man coverage, a few of his efficiency metrics stuck out that I think should be highlighted here, man. Number 1 in true catch rate across the NFL, 34th in yards per route run, 26th in fantasy points per target, 18th in production premium, and 17th in quarterback rating per target. So he's making the most of the targets he's getting. And I think if the former Florida Gator can stay healthy, I think he's got a real chance to be a top 24 wide receiver. And he's being drafted 98th overall in Fantasy Pros consensus ADP. That's pulling it in from places like Sleeper, from places like ESPN, Yahoo, RTS Sports, really those main places, NFL.com, those main places people are drafting. So, Eric, we had a mock draft last week. I took Pearsall again. I know you weren't in on him. What's the deal here? Are you still out on Pearsall at such a value? Because you're not getting him in any drafts with me right now. I have him all the way up as a top 36 guy, and I don't think I'm changing that anytime soon.
Yeah, that's I guess the core of my concern with Ricky Pearsall, right? I love all of the underlying stats. I love his profile as a prospect. What I don't love is that we are getting way out over our skis based on essentially an electric 2-game sample size. I know you mentioned that cherry-picked 3rd game where he had 6 targets. One of those targets led to a 46-yard touchdown, right? So
Sure.
a little bit of a fluky outcome where he just completely torched Zion McCollum. But point being, he's got the underlying skill set to be this guy. I always get worried about, extrapolating 2, 3, 4-game sample size out to that type of productivity over the course of an entire season. In the course of the last week, since we've had this conversation, he went from a point where he was being drafted late enough to where I think you could still make a defendable case. You mentioned Jake Seeley and the idea of trying to get top 24 guys at every position that you draft. He was one of those dart throws that could have that type of outcome on his range. My concern now, specifically with the most recently developing Brandon Ayuk news, is I don't think you're going to be able to get him that late in your draft, right? So you're going to need him to really carry forward this momentum from last year in order to pay off his draft capital. I'm not out on the guy. I think it's one of those circumstances where you need top end outcomes to be happy with that selection. And usually those are the type of choices that I try to avoid. But he's still young. The book is very much so not written on him by any means.
Are you taking Jennings over him, Eric?
I was prior to Jennings getting nicked up definitively. Now I think it's really just whoever's falling further, which recently is Jennings. My point of view on Jennings has always been the Shanahan/McVay tree. They lean on their receivers to do a lot of blocking, and Juwan Jennings is their best blocking receiver. So his playing time felt a little bit more secure to me. Now with the injury, it's kind of hard to project that as cleanly, but really it's a coin flip between the two, and the tiebreaker being whoever is going a little bit later.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeing Pearsall almost in every draft going after Jennings, even, a round or two difference, but it's starting to creep up. It is starting to creep up a little bit. Meatball here. How high do you think Pearsall will finish this year at the end of it? My guess, wide receiver 28. I think that's certainly within the range of possibilities. I have him down at wide receiver 35, right behind like the likes of Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy, but I might be moving. Judy's a tough one for me right now. Judy's been a tough one for me to gauge. So yeah, I like it. I think I do, but I was talking with a couple people over the weekend actually about Jerry Jeudy, and kind of, that's one thing I love about the Expo too. Like it kind of, you start talking about some random players sometimes, and yeah, and you get these different ideas, these different opinions that I don't hear when I'm, talking to you and Steve over here, or, Derek, Pat, Andrew over on FP. So yeah, it's just great. If Ayuk and Jennings were healthy, what would you rank Pearsall? Definitely lower. I want to be as high on him for sure. That's part of this equation, right? Eric, is like fantasy football is about opportunity, and I think the opportunity is there. So I would certainly, if the ACL tear never happened for Ayuk and he had a good season last year, we're probably looking at, me personally, Pearsall closer to his ADP, like wide receiver 45, 46. I think that's part of why I'm so aggressive on him, is just the land of opportunity out there.
Yeah. Specifically with the injury to those two, right? If they are both healthy, I think Pearsall has a long road in front of him in terms of just taking the field, right? You know, the blocking ability, the familiarity with the systems, just how infrequently you see Kyle Shanahan running 3 receiver sets. Like, his field time would really be inhibited by both of those guys being healthy. So he would plummet down the boards for me, because if you're not on the field, you're not going to show what you can do with
Exactly.
that skill set, right? And now he has that opportunity. His ADP is rising because of it. He's got the athleticism to really make the most of it. So you're getting him near his ceiling outcome at current ADP. But if both those guys were healthy, he would be very, very far down the board for me.
Quick sidebar here before we get to the next breakout from Andrew. Not sure what to do with Chase Brown. Are the Bengals always in pass mode because the defense, or does it mean more scoring opportunities for Brown? I think it's a little bit of both, Andrew. And let's not forget too that those pass, catching heavy game scripts, that favors a guy like Chase Brown, who actually is a really good pass catcher going back to his time at Champaign. And he's the guy I should have had on my breakout list last year, because I've been all in on this guy since his time at Illinois, dude. I think he is a volume getter. And while I like Taj Brooks, and I think maybe the volume will come down a little bit, he beat out Zach Moss pretty easily, and Moss got hurt, and Moss is already off the team this season. So I think it tells me all I need to know on Chase Brown. I'm still very much in. I think right now, let's see. I think I have him running back 9, and you could talk me into maybe taking him over Josh Jacobs too. So I'm right there on Chase Brown. Your thoughts here for our guy Andrew. Andrew, regular listener to a lot of programs here, not just NFL, but also in those NASCAR streets, Eric.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've been getting Chase Brown left and right. You know, the concern that I and many had for Brown heading into the season was whether or not they were going to draft someone that was going to legitimately threaten his workload. That workload was and is the foundation of his fantasy productivity and viability. And yes, they did bring in Brooks, but with a very late round draft capital. And now we're looking at a situation where not only does he have the early crack at the work, but to Andrew's question about, situations where the Bengals are passing more, probably going to be the case again this year. This defense is going to have its struggles to hold anyone out from getting into the end zone. Obviously, Chase is a prolific pass catcher, but with a rookie as the alternative there, that pass pro consideration is always looming out there. So it's going to be a while before the Bengals and the coaching staff feel comfortable with Taj Brooks picking up pass pro for Joe Burrow, right? So it is wheels up for Chase Brown for me heading into 2025.
Yeah, I'm a top 24 overall player, and I don't mind if you go out in the second round. If you got like Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb, one of these like top 3 wide receivers early, I don't mind grabbing him before the turn just to, secure your RB1 there and Chase Brown. That's how high I am on him, Andrew. So great question, brother. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, not only on Thursdays, but now on Tuesdays as well. So very cool. Eric, throwing it back to you here for your next breakout candidate for 2025, please.
Yeah, going a little bit deeper down the board, a cult favorite, Jalen Coker. Coker's wild. The Panthers have an ace up their sleeve. Look, all of a sudden we head into 2025, where last year the Panthers receiving room was kind of a punchline, and now they've got a logjam, right? Obviously, Tetairoa McMillan comes in with the very early first-round draft capital, but we saw very promising things from Xavier Legette, and we saw very promising things from Jalen Coker, their UDFA from last year. Came on a little bit more down the stretch run, really as he got opportunity out of the slot and as more of a power slot archetype, right? We've seen plenty of guys like a Rashee Rice, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, that have these bulkier builds that aren't necessarily burners, but that are great at creating separation, that are great at winning contested catches. And that was exactly how the Panthers used him as he was coming on last year, right? They had these in-breaking 12-yard routes that they just kept going to, and Bryce Young would throw the ball up and let him body his defender and come down with the ball. We're seeing a lot of those same highlight reel type of catches coming out of practice, coming out of the preseason, where he comes in on his very first snap and catches a scramble drill touchdown, right? So we've talked a lot throughout this show and throughout the course of this program about opportunity being the platform for these young players to really emerge. And I think that's what we're seeing with Jalen Coker. He should compete for the starting slot role in week number 1. And if he's on the field, he's got the skill set that is just differentiated enough from his other teammates to where they will continue to go to him in these high leverage, third down, red zone type of situations. And to get him, where he's falling in drafts, I mean, he's basically a late or last round type of lottery pick. So I'm happy to gamble on this type of player.
It's very interesting the call here on Jalen Coker. There's always a lot of hashtag cokeheads in the chat each and every week here over at FP as well. And the interesting thing is that, like, I like the talent of Jalen Coker, but I think it takes an injury for him to get on the field, right? Because he is a little bit blocked in, I think, right now by Adam Thielen. So I think Thielen's going to – dude, Thielen's say what you want about Adam Thielen. That guy's a dog. He's a team player, and he also – each and every season that he's been healthy in this Panthers offense has been an absolute weapon for Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, whoever's under center. So I don't think I'm drafting Coker. I think it's more of like, hey, I'm going to get out my draft, and if nobody takes him themselves, add it to the watch list. That's how I'm going to go with Coker. It sounds like you think maybe he does overtake old man Thielen.
I think that on skill set alone, he should be in that conversation, but your circumstance where Thielen is blocking Coker is banking on the health of someone who's going to be 35 years old by the time we head into the start of the season. And sure, when he's been out there, he has been a very productive player. But even last year, missed 7 games, right? If you run through his lengthy scroll of a game log, and it is rare circumstance where Adam Thielen is playing a full load of games, be them 16 or 17, because he's been in the league for that long, right? So I don't think it's a high bar to clear, point being. And ultimately with a team like the Panthers, like, they're trying to identify their young core, right? This is a team that is emergent. They need to know where they have youth that is ascending, and they can go and spend either their free agent dollars or their draft capital on other areas. So at some point, for my money, by merit, if not for just understanding what they have on the roster, I think we're going to see Coker overtake Thielen for that starting slot role.
I'll miss you, Thielen. Thank you, Adam Thielen, for all the years of service.
Shout out. Great run.
Yeah, great run. We'll see if it continues. Meatball in the chat saying, with Tedero McMillan, now with the Panthers, the defenses will have to focus a little more coverage to him, possibly opening up some opportunities for Coker the Joker. That's a new one, Coker the Joker. I like that. I like that. How old are you, Eric? Because Adam Thielen, Meatball is saying you think he's closer to his age than yours, but I think you guys might even be the same age, right?
I am actually older than old man Thielen.
Oh, wow.
Must be 38 years old.
Well, he sorry to out you there as well, but I feel like it's more of football years. He's older. He's old in football years. Man has seen a lot. Done a lot. So let's keep it moving here with my next headline, Hijinks, and I have to come clean with a couple things here. One, I'm a Survivor head now, man. I'm all in on Survivor. Like, I liked that show as a kid a lot, and then I didn't watch it for like 10 years. And then we had an article series start up last year on the In Between Media website, in-betweenmedia.com, and it was a banger. And it was talking about odds with Survivors. I got really back into it. So I started binging all these seasons. One season I have not watched is a play for this headline. Survivor, heroes versus healers versus Henderson. And look, my other admission is that I'm all the way in on TreVeyon Henderson. It shouldn't be like a huge shocker to anyone, I don't think, because Henderson was my RB2 pre-draft. I've officially moved him back to my rookie RB2 in redraft. I still think Hampton, with the draft capital, I'd prefer in Dynasty, but love the production we saw as a true freshman. Has that big play potential as he aged. He showed that. He shared the backfield last year, Quinshon Judkins, and wasn't as effective from a pure volume standpoint, but still very, very explosive. And 44 or 4.43 second 40-yard dash, 92 percentile, 91st percentile burst score. And that was on full display this past weekend, Eric. I know you're busy over there at the dojo, but first career touch, goes to the house on a 100-yard kick return in preseason, man. Also looked great catching the ball, explosive in the run game, 1 for 18 on the ground, 3 for 12 through the air as well. The Patriots are still, in my opinion, missing playmakers outside Stephon Diggs, outside Drake May. I think Henderson could potentially have a Jahmyr Gibbs-like rookie season. That is within the cards. Gibbs finishes RB8 on a points per game basis. Henderson has RB1 upside. You're getting him at a really, really great deal right now. 55 overall, RB20. I'm spending a 5th round pick on him all the time here. Like, Dave Montgomery was there for Jahmyr Gibbs to compete with. Ramondre Stevenson, he's just an average guy who got overpaid, in my opinion. So with Josh McDaniels liking to feature running backs in the passing game, with Henderson, the former Buckeye, great in pass production, he has 3 down upside. He has RB1 upside, and I'm there for it, man.
I don't mind anything about this case that you're making for TreVeyon Henderson. The point where I'm rolling my eyes for the audio audience is how much difference a year makes, right? A year ago, Kyren Williams was listed as a kick returner on the Rams depth chart, and everyone's hair was on fire. This dude was plummeting down draft boards. We can't be drafting a guy that is going to have kick return responsibility. We don't even know what his role is going to be. Fast forward to 2025, TreVeyon Henderson returns a kick for a touchdown, and now all of a sudden his ADP.
Dude, I've been here the whole time.
3 to 4 rounds, right? Which is really the basis of my gripe, right? Like we operate and we draft in a dynamic marketplace, and now you're going to have to draft TreVeyon Henderson near his ceiling, right?
I don't think so.
Like you,
I don't think it's
where are you seeing TreVeyon Henderson go over the last 5 days worth of drafts post touchdown run.
So I saw him in DNO. I saw him at DNO going right around where I've been getting him in a lot of places, like that early 5th round. So I think you can still probably get him around there. And I don't think that's a ceiling, because right there, that's around like RB20, and he's way better than that, dude. Well, he has the potential to be better than that, I should say.
I've seen him go at the 3-4 turn.
Like really?
If you go look in ADPs that are sortable by date range over the last 3 or 4 days, his high point is in the 30s. I'm not.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Oh.
So this is a point to where you need to know your league and how much they respond to preseason and how much they get in on rookies. Point being, I think that he's got the type of skill set to pay off a 3rd or 4th round draft capital, but that is the high end of his range. You mentioned some of the non-kick return moments from that preseason game, and they were very promising, right? Showed those good hands, showed that he was able to move around before the snap and check into coverage, right? Wasn't a liability in pass pro, which is always one of the bigger inhibitors in terms of playing time for rookies. So I think there's a lot to like about him. It's just you're going to have to pay now that he has that sizzle reel out there in the world.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see where, especially with Judkins kind of, that looming. Now he's over Judkins. Harvey was listed low on the depth chart, so he's starting to get up there for sure. Meatball saying in the chat, I wish I could have been able to draft Henderson this past Saturday. Oh, dude, in your dynasty league, it would have been awesome to come back each and every year flexing him out there. That would have been great. But I see, Michael, you were still able to get Chase Brown in the 3rd round. So great steal by you in the DNO inaugural dynasty league. I'm going to throw it back to you here, Eric, with another bit of a deep cut here for redrafts. Your 3rd and final favorite breakout candidate for 2025 is?
Another deep cut, my headline being burden of proof, Luther making his case. Another guy whose ADP is starting to tick up a considerable amount from previously undrafted to latest rounds to now later rounds. And I still think that's the correct range, right? Nothing monumental happened with regard to Luther Burden. There was positive reports for him coming out of camp when he was able to rejoin his teammates after missing some time. And obviously the coach speak is going to be heaping praise on him. Ben Johnson goes out and spends a 2nd round pick, his 2nd pick ever at the helm for the Bears on this guy specifically. And now there's reporting out of Chicago that they view him as like a hybrid between DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, right? I wasn't exactly the the highest Luther Burden stan in terms of his profile as a prospect. But if he had to land in a pitcher perfect place, it could not be better than in a Ben Johnson offense. And now data points are starting to amass. We have some film with him on the field in this preseason game. Looked clean, getting in and out of his breaks. He made his opposing DB look absolutely silly on a 3rd and 15, where he was able to leave that guy shaking in his boots and pick up 16 yards for the first down. There was a later boot rollout where Bajent, if he just got to his second progression, had Luther Burden streaking in the end zone for a touchdown. So these are the little points of information that if they continue to stack up and they start to arc in a certain direction, you want to be a little bit earlier on, especially at this particular cost, right? So Seth called me out for the theme on a lot of my guys. I like a lot of the later options because you have a lot of optionality in terms of planting your flag and going and getting that guy. So I think Burden is another player to keep a very close eye on how practice and camp continues to unfold for him, how the preseason continues to unfold for him. And if he holds this trajectory, he could be a guy that's moving another round or two up and could be a favorite in this Ben Johnson offense this year.
Oh man, I really don't like Luther Burden as a prospect. I made that pretty
clear.
Either. No, but I want to believe like the narrative, like it's like Ben Johnson slot guy, right? Like this is the potential ARSB profile, and that's like what I think the belief here is. But I have a sneaky suspicion, and it's not just the clips I'm seeing online, but I think the Bears might struggle out of the gate, man, just because I don't know if Caleb Johnson is going to fit this Ben Johnson offense as much as we all think he has, man. Like Lincoln Riley, kind of a similar offensive play caller, and where Caleb was really making his mark was like the ad lib stuff, right? Like I just don't know if he can play in rhythm and on time as much as Ben Johnson is going to demand. And with Roma Dunze creeping up there and getting his own targets, hopefully this season as well, has a season with Johnson under his belt. DJ Moore is going to be unhappy if he's not getting his targets. And, oh, yeah, you got Colston Loveland, a top 10 overall pick, who's going to be catching balls as well. So it's like for Burn, again, he's the guy I want to watch, and maybe I'm wrong on. Yeah. But I don't know if I can pull the trigger. That's all.
It's fair. I had the exact same position heading into the pre-draft process. This is the ideal circumstance for him to fall into. And like I mentioned, we're just accumulating data points, right? The more that the drumbeat continues to point us in a positive direction, the more I'm willing to buy in at cost, right? This is a guy that's a 12th, 13th rounder. Your questions, your open questions about Caleb Williams are fair. But if Ben Johnson can turn Jared Goff into an effective and arguably Pro Bowl quarterback, I think he can do it with just about anybody, right? Jared Goff was essentially solved and about to be laughed out of this league before Ben Johnson got his hands on him. So Caleb Williams might not be worthy of a number 1 overall pick. You know, that remains to be seen. I think Ben Johnson can make something work, and he's following the narrative street. Propensity is higher for him to try to make it work with the guys that he hand selected than the guys that he inherited.
Yeah, it's a great point. Curious, can I throw a couple names out there and just give me a would you rather? One banger?
Yeah.
Cedric Tillman.
Burden.
Romeo Dobbs.
Ooh, probably Dobbs in light of all these injuries.
Brandon Ayuk.
Burden.
Keenan Allen.
Burden.
Oh, wow. Okay. Rashid Shaheed.
I like some Rashid Shaheed.
Okay. All right. So I think he's right in that. I mean, the good thing about this call, man, is he's going off the board wide receiver 16 ADP. That's actually where I have him for being down on him in my ranking is wide receiver 60. But there are a couple guys that I do like a little bit better in that area, like Dobbs, like Cedric Tillman. I do have Ayuk above him, but that might change. And Keenan Allen for sure for me. But
I wanted to go Ayuk over, but with the reporting this far out from the start of the season, already saying we're looking at 6 weeks.
I know.
If we're lucky, like
I know.
I'll just avoid guys that are going to miss half of the fantasy season where I can.
Yeah, keep that IR slot open when you can. Thielen or Burden for Michael here.
Burden. Thielen's going to be holding the clipboard or out on the street before long.
I have Thielen at wide receiver 63, Michael. So just a few spots behind him, but he's in that like slot mix where all those guys who could catch a million passes and still not get 1,000 yards receivers, like Pop Douglas, Wandale Robinson. He's kind of like right in that, volume slot wide receiver that you can plug into your lineup, but you're not going to feel good about it any week. I'll go and round us out though with my final breakout candidate for 2025, man. Shiver me timbers. It's Emeka Egbuka. He's another former Ohio State Buckeye that I had as a top 2 rookie at his position in the pre-draft process. I tried not to get overly excited about him after he landed in Tampa Bay. I kind of cold my jets a little bit. But with Chris Godwin having a second procedure this offseason, still not practicing in full, I've been slowly each and every week creeping Emeka Egbuka up my rankings to the point now where he's wide receiver 38. I've always said from the beginning, most pro-ready receiver in this class. This guy can do it all. He can run block with the best of them all. He can route people up. He makes plays after the catch. And I'm so tired of this narrative that he was not the best wide receiver on his team. Like, give me a freaking break, man. Like, give me a break, dude. You ever hear Justin Jefferson? I mean, Emeka Egbuka, let's go through it again for the people, for the ones in the back yelling that. Garrett Wilson, JSN, Marv, Jeremiah Smith, maybe the best wide receiver prospect in the history of college football, man. So, like, I really like Egbuka. I don't care that he came back for the extra year. He made it count. He's now 12th all-time in Big Ten receptions, 17th in receiving yards, 25th in touchdowns. And with Godwin uncertain for week 1, and their first 4 games, these are the cornerbacks they're playing, guys, on those first 4 games. A.J. Terrell, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Quinshon Mitchell. I think Mike Evans is going to see a lot of attention. I think the other outside receiver, Jalen McMillan, could see some attention as well. And I think that's going to open Egbuka to get off to an absolute heater of a start. So I think after that, it's going to be one of those situations you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So whether they start kicking him to the outside, whether Godwin kicks to the outside a little bit when he gets healthy, or whether it's just Egbuka slot for the rest of the season and his career, I'm in, man. I'm in on Egbuka. I'm now taking him over players I didn't think I would be. I'm taking him over Stephon Diggs. I'm taking him over Cooper Kupp, Addison, Jaden Reed. Like, give me Egbuka now. I'm in.
Man, there are so many things to address here. The one that immediately caught my attention, yes, it is a murderer's row of cornerback ones that the Buccaneers are facing for the first 4 weeks of the season. But a couple of those also have maybe some of the best second cornerbacks.
Cooper DeJean. That was the one I was thinking of.
He's going to get coverage by Kamari Lassiter, the Texans' emergent sophomore cornerback, right?
Fair.
Like, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but the opportunity's there, right? That's the theme for tonight's show. If the opportunity's there, the guys that have these excellent skill sets are more prone to take full advantage of it, right? And the thing that breaks my heart about Emeka Egbuka is he was one of my favorite rookie draft targets before we started getting more news about Chris Godwin, before we started getting the glowing camp reports, because he was kind of falling down the list, right? He felt like a weird pick. He was like end of the first into the beginning of the second in some cases, and I was just gobbling up left and right. Now he is getting his just due. And at least from my vantage point, he's the type of player that I feel comfortable drafting him ahead of where his ADP was previously, closer to where it is going right now. I was on Sirius XM with the diehards last night, and I took Emeka Egbuka over Matthew Golden, over Jordan Addison, over Ricky Pearsall, right? Like happily over these guys.
Let's go.
So for me with Egbuka, and for those that aren't keeping notes at home, Seth's talking about our friend Steve, who likes to remind us that he wasn't the best receiver on his own college team. I think that is a bit of a false flag for us to follow. To be the best receiver on the Ohio State receiving core of recent is maybe the highest mark in all of college football, right? So you kind of remove that storyline from the picture, and Emeka Egbuka comes in as an absolute technician and one of the most versatile receiving prospects that we have seen in recent years, which is what I love about this selection by the Buccaneers in particular. They've got a couple of prolific receivers already on the team. Some are a little bit older than others. Some are a little bit more injury prone than others. And wherever the gap may lie, Egbuka has the skill set to step in and fill that gap, right? So his role might evolve over the course of the season, but I think he's going to be heavily involved from week number 1 for the Bucs.
Yeah, and not trying to take a shot, Steve, because I've seen that a lot on the internet. And also, Steve, an absolute freaking
forget that guy.
stick.
Hop in the chat if you got something to say, Steve.
Steve, an absolute stick on the course, man. I got to play in the IBT Classic with him, Scott Pianowski from Yahoo, and Fitzy over there from FP. And man, I was not expecting Steve to be that good. He is really good. He gets off the tee well, great with his irons too, and got a little short game in him too. So Steve, appreciate it. That was a fun, very, very fun round of golf. I'm sure we'll chat about it on next week's show as well. And Ben in the chat with the nicknames again, Egbuka, the bazooka. I could see, why did Gus Johnson never give us that one? He gave us Maserati Marv, but he never gave us that. Egbuka is a poor man, St. Brown. I like that for Mike as well. Yeah. Henderson. So Judkins and TreVeyon can't succeed on their own. They'll be okay, man. Yeah, they'll be okay. I think, you know, the fact that you get so many crowded receiver rooms in college, running back rooms, like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like that's why I think a lot of people were down on Henderson, right? It's because Judkins was there, and Judkins was like the bigger guy for many, many years since he was a true freshman at Ole Miss. He was the guy in those Debbie streets that people were playing. So
yeah. This just feels like analysis of a bygone era, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the player mobility, with the NIL reality of college sports today. Like, these powerhouse teams have the coffers, have the war chest to go out and build themselves all-star teams, right? So for you know, a guy to not emerge past another all-world talent is no longer the kiss of death that it once was.
Agreed. Let's go ahead, Eric. Let's round out the show with a little good news. Feel good headlines of the week coming right at you. It's good news. Our feel good headlines of the week from around the sports and pop culture world. And Eric, the Fantasy Football Expo, not only the big headline in the week for the community. Talk about it, man.
Yeah, the first headline for me that I have to give homage and respect to is seeing Matthew Berry, one of the luminaries and more recognizable and pioneering members of the fantasy space, on with Jimmy Fallon last night is something that just completely floored me, right? Barry himself is so gracious. He's such a great ambassador for the sport and for the game, but also just the recognition of this weird game that we play that's based on a sport that we love, and watching this platform continue to grow over the course of time is something that got me in my feels, right? You know, it's really cool to see one of the biggest spotlights in all of entertainment shown on this game that we love and that we invest so much time in, and that we build community and relationships and friendships around. And then specifically for Barry to be the one that's, you know, holding that torch. He's just such a great ambassador. He has so many incredible stories. He really just creates an open and welcoming space for anyone who wants to dive into these fantasy waters. So it was a really cool moment to see him, take the couch with Fallon last night. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go seek it out, because it's a really cool interview, and it's cool to, you know, take that as a point in time and look back and reflect at, you know, my own journey through the space as a player and as a content creator and analyst, but also just how far the game has come. It was definitely a pretty special moment to see.
I completely agree with you, man. And I can tell you one thing is for sure, that IBT would not be around without Matthew Berry. I mean, his book, his column, huge inspiration for me. And, you know, why at the end of the day, we do want to help people win fantasy football championships. Of course, we want to help people win cash in sports betting, but at the same time, we want to help people live their life to the fullest and enjoy the ride along the way. And, Matthew Berry was a guy through his writing early on in life that taught me that. So very thankful that he got his opportunity last night on Fallon. And as he said, great ambassador for the sport, man. So very, very cool moment. And what a feel-good headline for you, Eric. Sometimes you come in here and you're like, oh, good news. You're all moping around. Good one this week, brother. I love that.
Man, this one got me in my field. Barry did it.
Let's go ahead, and I see we have a question coming in the chat. Let's grab that before I get to my headline of the week as well. This is from a new subscriber, DeAndre Swift Season. Thank you so much for the new subscription. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the question as well and hanging out with us on this beautiful Tuesday evening. 12-team full PPR, 3 flex. I have Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Omarion Hampton, Drake London, Tedero McMillan, Tucker Craft, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, and Downs. Got sent JJ for McCaffrey. Justin Jefferson for Christian McCaffrey. Is this dynasty, right? No. This is straight up. Straight up.
I don't believe this is dynasty. This one's tricky for me because on rankings and on merit, I've got Justin Jefferson well ahead of Christian McCaffrey. But you look at this team and there is a open question in terms of who your second running back is going to be, right? So maybe there's some depth pieces that you have on your bench that you can plug into that spot, to where it could make it worthwhile. But if it's going to result in you going to the waiver wire or picking some, back of the bench guy to have to start at running back every week, it's probably not a worthwhile proposition for you to entertain, right? If this person is open to talking, I would definitely, it looks like Dylan Sampson would be starting for you every week, which is a tough scene, right? So see if you can't counter and try to get some running back depth back in return for this kind of baseline of your trade.
Yeah, I would say that, like if you can roll out a wide receiver lineup, and it is 3 flex, so I do want to have ample wide receivers. If you can run out Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Tedero McMillan, that is awesome. So if you can see what you can get, can you maybe flip JMO and Downs in that? Can you move Olave with it? I mean, I would be super cool with that, dude. And if you can get yourself, can you downgrade to a Chase Brown or a Josh Jacobs, someone kind of in that TreVeyon Henderson.
Downgrade to a Chase Brown or a Josh Jacobs, that would be a smash, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking if you can get Caleb Johnson is one of my favorite later round targets, and RJ Harvey back, James Conner back, right? I think something to that effect would still make this worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree completely, man. I mean, but I honestly would have a hard time not accepting this because I'm imagining Swift Season, if your league is already setting trades, if you're already drafted in a redraft by August 12th, I don't think you should have a problem finding a true potential running back 1 RB2 candidate here before the season. So even if you have to accept this one, then go back to the well with another manager, I wouldn't hate doing it, man. So thank you again so much for subscribing, man. We're here live with you, 9:35 p.m. Eastern time, sometimes a couple minutes late because, we like to josh around and pal around in the pre-show. But and we also have a ton of other content here for you at IBT Media. Rounding out my feel-good headline of the week, the first AP Top 25 college football preseason poll has been released. Eric, I don't know about you, but every year when we get back from the Fantasy Football Expo, we're about a week away from week 0. I just can't help but get jazzed up, man. The fall weather has been here for a couple weeks. A little hot this week, but before we were in those nice, 60-degree evenings, 60-degree mornings. It's felt great, and nothing tells me we're back, baby. We are back. The official AP Top 25 college football rankings, the Associated Press, always doing a great job. No Oxford commas forever, baby. And I'm just going to go through it for our listener audience real quick and see what they think here. But it does start out with here Texas at number 1, Penn State at 2, Ohio State at 3, Clemson at number 4, and then it goes into Georgia at 5, Notre Dame at 6. Then we have Oregon at 7, Alabama 8, LSU at 9. I believe 10 is Miami, Arizona State 11, Illinois at 12, 13 South Carolina, 14 Michigan, 15 Florida, 16 SMU, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Indiana coming in at 20, Ole Miss at 21, Iowa State 22, Texas Tech, 23, Tennessee, Boise State rounding out the top 25. And dude, why I think this is so cool, Eric, not only is Penn State ranked 2, hashtag we are baby, but just the interesting groups of teams we have here, like Arizona State, very much still the real deal after a sensational run to the CFP. Illinois, even losing some guys like Pat Bryant out there at wideout. They still have Luke Altmaier at quarterback. They're ranked top 12. That's the highest I've seen Illinois maybe in my lifetime. Teams like SMU, Kansas State. Is Oklahoma and John Mateer going to be something? Is he gambling on sports? What's going on here? Can Signetti and the Hoosiers continue to have some life there? Texas Tech, they have all this money coming in the program. So many awesome storylines, man. And like you even go into like the other receiving votes, like UNLV out there like 20 to 1 to make the college football playoff. Can they have a big year? They just got a good quarterback recruit coming in. Toledo out of the MAC with a receiving vote. You know how I love my MACtion. You know I got some Toledo action to win the Mid-American Conference. So Eric, just so much fun looking at this type of stuff. I'm a total nerd. It takes me back to my youth and love seeing it. So your initial thoughts here on the college football top 25 AP rankings, initial vibes and any issues you have with it, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick any nits because I think there are a lot of unknowns about these teams heading in, and you have to try to make an objective call based on the rosters and the coaching staff. So I give this first poll a wide berth in terms of margin of error. The biggest point for me is the one that you started off with, right? Like this is a point in time. The only thing that will happen that will make me feel closer to football being a reality is when you hear those pads start popping and
yes.
we're talking about live game action, right?
Yep.
So this is definitely one of those escalation points where you really start feeling just how close the upcoming football seasons are. I mean, you look 1 through 10, a lot of SEC, a lot of Big Ten, so not exactly a surprise there. Texas being number 1, I know that I was stumping for Matthew Golden to start off the show. We talk about what this Texas offense can be with Arch Manning and not Quinn Ewers under center. Quinn Ewers has a pop gun arm and was holding a lot of those receivers back. I'm super excited to see what Arch can do there just up the road from me in Austin. And also cut off on the graphic, but not to be remiss, Miami is going to be a pretty interesting play too. 10 is obviously plenty of respect heading into the new season. But Carson Beck comes in, and all the reporting out of the 305 is that he has got a handle on this offense, and he is looking sharp. I think that Miami can make a bit of noise this year.
I'll believe when I see it, baby. I'm fading them week 1. I'm fading them early and often. I've heard off the record from some players that he's not the most engaging leader. Also, we know kind of some of the off-field stuff that happened with him and the old girlfriend too. That is why I went to Miami. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miami is closing up shop, week 6, and it's another failed year for Cristobal. Sorry,
it's a tough scene, right? You got a top 10 matchup to open up the year, right? Like whomever doesn't prevail in that game is feeling very different about their season as soon as week 0, right?
I also want to say too, like, this is going to be, if you are into fantasy football, maybe you don't watch a lot of college football, this is a year to start getting invested with CFB. Try out college fantasy football if you want to. Maybe just bet on some games. Maybe just watch the games, man, because, even just here, you mentioned him, Arch Manning. He might not come out this season. We'll see, but he's going to be someone we're going to be watching in the NFL circle and Dynasty Streets for a long time. Drew Aller with Penn State, another potential first-round pick. Clemson, Cade Klubnik. You guys know how I feel about Cade Klubnik down there in South Carolina as well. You guys got like guys like Lenora Seller for 13 South Carolina. So much. John Mateer, me and Steve talked a little bit about him. I think he's a little bit overhyped. We've said that on a past program, but still, DJ Lagway, very talented guy at Florida. Bryce Underwood, incoming freshman for Michigan. So it is going to be freaking awesome. And make sure you guys are hanging out with us here at In Between Media so you don't miss a second of it. It's going to be simply sensational. And we have not only fantasy football and NFL betting content, but some college football betting snuck in here and there. We also, on Thursday nights, we're live at the Back Row. That's our fantasy NASCAR and NASCAR betting program. We also have the 19th hole on Mondays. It goes off. That's our PGA program. And every few weeks, we also have Popcorn Root Beer, where you can actually make money betting on things like movies, TV shows, music. So if you want to be a part of our story, if you want to come help us out and continue to grow here, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And one more time, check out the IBT football family as well. You're going to get access into our memorabilia giveaways. You're going to get an exclusive Q&A show where you can actually be on the show and ask your questions live with voice chat from weeks 1 through 18 with Phil and Ben. You can join the conversation on the Discord with ourselves and many of our analysts here. You're going to get our full weekly betting cards, and you're going to enter the touchdown contest. So, Eric, a lot happening here for us, IBT. Anything new for you? Anything we should be looking out for? I know you've been on series a couple times in the past few weeks. So, any guest spots or anything we should be on the lookout for you?
Yeah, anything that you should be on the lookout for is all going to roll up into my Twitter feed, which is at FantasyNav. Flying the IBT flag everywhere that I can. Still be working behind the scenes with some charting over at the FTN data side. So if you're using those tools and you want to get a sense of how it all comes together, it's real people charting every single snap from every single game, right? So that Stat Hub is a powerful tool. Stoked to be part of that team. And maybe a few other things up my sleeve. We still got a few more weeks until kickoff, so we'll see exactly how these plans finalize over the next few weeks.
Man, I thought my Sundays were stressful getting ready for the Fantasy Pros Sunday Night Live recap, man. That is a different type of experience. So hats off to you. Hats off to everyone over at FTN for putting that good work. Make sure you're checking out Eric's work. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at _SethFF. But again, easiest way you support us, join the IBT family. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. That's all for us this week. We'll see you next time right here on In Between Media. Keep it in between till next time, y'all.